2 News begins now.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus. I'm Tim Pham. This is your KREM 2 News Week in Review. Join us as we take a closer look at some of the biggest stories in the inland Northwest this past week.
The High Court's decision in this matter is final, but the legal battle over emergency abortions in Idaho isn't. Idaho's pro-life lawmakers marked the moment a small victory.
Today, the court said that Idaho will be able to enforce its law to save lives in the vast majority of circumstances while the case proceeds.
As did pro-choice advocates and some healthcare professionals. The SCOTUS decision allows emergency abortions to protect the health of the pregnant person. For now, a bit of breathing room.
Physicians are going to feel confident that they can make the recommendations to their patients,
says St. Luke's attorney Peg Doherty.
Knowing that follow-up sentence is not going to be, but we will have to look to transfer you.
But confusion continues.
There is a pro-abortion agenda that is trying to confuse doctors and make them scared of what our law says when our law is really clear.
Idaho Attorney General Raul Labrador says he's been meeting with physicians to clear up fear of prosecution. But some physicians say those fears come directly from ambiguities in Idaho's law.
What our physicians and our patients are very concerned about are those situations in which a pregnant woman's health is in jeopardy, that she is on a track to lose her fertility or a major bodily function. And that is not clear in the law.
And that's where the potential fear as a clinician exists of criminal prosecution or losing the medical license.
It's also unclear if Thursday's ruling will be enough to stop the bleed. Keller says Idaho has lost 22% of its OBGYNs since the law went into effect.
2 of my colleagues left simply because of the change in the trigger ban prior to this day. Another colleague left.
As the legal battle rages on with no end date in sight.
University of Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohberger is now expected to stand trial in June next year. This is a day many have been waiting for, especially the families of the 4 U of I students who were killed nearly 2 years ago.
The Moscow murder suspect is charged with 4 counts of murder in connection with the deaths of 4 University of Idaho students. The case has seen several delays, but this is the first time attorneys on both sides have confidently agreed on a trial start date.
All rise.
In the hearing today, the Latah County judge presiding in the case pointed out it's been a little over a year since the suspect's arraignment.
That we're getting to a point of diminishing returns.
The Latah County prosecutor and Kohberger's defense attorney told the judge they both find it reasonable to set the trial for June 2025.
It makes sense that we do the trial in the summertime when high school is out across the street and when the university is out.
That's a time frame that we have been working towards. I am hopeful that we can come in there. We're working towards that date.
The family of Kaylee Gonsalves shared a statement through their attorney, Shannon Gray. They say, "It was a good day today. We were able to get a trial date set and things appear to be moving forward. We are hopeful the trial stays in Latah County so as not to disrupt the scheduling order, and we are praying for no more delays. We moved a little closer to justice today for Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan." Ben Mogan, the father of Maddie Mogan, is also reacting to this update in the case. In a statement to KREM 2, he says, "My family and I are relieved that there is finally a court date set. Hopefully it will actually happen at that time. I am fine with it being in Latah."
The defense still has a change of venue hearing scheduled at the end of August, which means they want to move the trial out of Latah County. The latest scheduling order filed says if the trial is relocated, the court anticipates the trial dates will not change. Amanda Rowley, KREM 2 News.
They have a sense of immediacy about them.
Pose!
And there's a seriousness that comes back.
Every small accomplishment has felt like one big step forward towards the end goal. And if we look back at pictures versus where we are now, it's all big toothpicks out here.
We're looking to memorialize the 4 students we lost in November of 2022.
We're also looking to memorialize all the students that the university loses before they make it to graduation. Right after graduation, we got out here and started working.
Today we're pouring concrete. We're taking those little toothpicks we played with inside, and now we're bringing it all out here and playing outside in the dirt.
They're learning new skills. There's a lot of people who slipped on their muck boots for the first time today. Every time we break ground, it's a big moment for me where you can really see the students shift into this idea, this moment where they're realizing that this thing they've been working on for the community is about to happen.
The past few weeks, it's been pouring a lot around in this area, so we've left muddy. We've dug a lot of trenches, but it's all worth it. Okay, we can start pulling back over this way a little bit.
We're just a group of architecture students trying to do the best that we can for something really unfortunate that happened. I think the hardest part really is just trying not to mess up.
My role is to help them understand that it is okay to mess up. That it's expected that you mess up. Don't kick yourself. Let's just adjust it. We'll make it right.
As long as we went over it flat, we're good.
Part of construction is fixing and redoing things again and again until they're perfect.
We aren't getting the typical summer vacation that people get, but this is probably the most rewarding summer most of us will ever have.
They're here through the weekend. They're here late at night. They will do something for the 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th time just to make sure that it's just right. Not that the project's about that hard work, but it is about caring.
We've met with the families back in the fall through spring. So all those memories, just talking to them and their loss, we're just trying to do right by them, right by everybody.
I think they saw just how much the students have cared and have tried to come from a place of listening with the designs. It was emotional, yeah.
Just watching the garden develop, and this is one of the pathways I take to class almost every single day. Just seeing people use it's going to be the most exciting thing, the most accomplishing thing about this project. But you want people to really experience this down the line. You want people to come back here 20 years as alumni, as vandals. We all come back.
They care a lot, and I hope that that shows up for the community.
Two more teenagers and their families are preparing to file a second lawsuit against the Mead School District, claiming they were not only assaulted at football camp last year, but have been repeatedly harassed and retaliated against ever since. It was first reported to Cheney police in February as a sexual assault. Police records stating cell phone videos showed multiple teens assaulting teammates with a massage gun. And according to this newly filed tort claim by the Connolly Law Offices, the football camp held at Eastern Washington University every summer had a history of racial harassment, assaults, and intolerance against students of color, while coaches and administrators turned a blind eye. It also claims multiple players endured intimidation and routine racial slurs, calling them the N-word and monkeys, saying they were snitches and should be leashed. The documents go on to say Mead employees ignored their own policies and failed to initiate a thorough investigation, saying parents weren't notified until 8 months later.
We're very concerned.
Marcus Sweetser is a Spokane attorney representing 3 other alleged victims. We first spoke with him last month when he also questioned why Mead didn't do more sooner.
The Mead School District staff was aware of it very quickly, actually had conversations within the school internally about the incidents, but for reasons only known to them, decided not to inform the parents.
According to the school district's own internal investigation findings, 2 students were assaulted during the EWU football camp in acts with typical characteristics of hazing and may represent sexual harassment assault. And the district also insists it did investigate and offered to create safety plans for at least some of the alleged victims, but says those attempts were refused. The report shows Mead principal Kimberly Jensen was informed of the cell phone videos in early December, but she claims it wasn't until late February that she actually watched the videos and then notified parents.
Court documents say 31-year-old Alyssa Bradburn not only called 911 to report she had shot her dad, she also outlined her whole plan in writing. It began with an early morning phone call and a pre-dawn response from first responders.
What I woke up to was hearing the sirens and then the lights, and then as I got out of bed, I saw a fire truck with all the lights on pull down.
Tanya Mitchell has lived on North Cochran Street 25 years and says she thought the emergency response was for an ill neighbor. She later learned a man was shot in the house across the street.
You were arrested for one count, murder in the first degree, involving your father, Mr. Timothy Bradburn. Do you understand why you're in custody this afternoon?
Yes. Now Timothy Bradburn's daughter, Alyssa, is charged with his murder. Investigators say she called 911 around 1 a.m. to report she'd shot him at least twice as he walked into the home from a stay in Hawaii. Court records show Bradburn told police, quote, "My journal has my confession and everything in it." She said she'd planned the murder for 3 weeks, even going to a gun range to learn how to open the cartridge.
He does note that Ms. Bradburn indicated that she had been planning this for quite some time and she had taken affirmative steps in order to carry this homicide out.
She told investigators she put her dogs in a back room so the gunshot wouldn't harm them and wore earplugs. Mitchell says she didn't hear any shots Tuesday morning.
I'm a little shocked. With the way life is going, it kind of not, but at the same time to be so close on my block.
Court records detail why Bradburn says she did it, telling investigators her father beat her and beat their dogs. Investigators say she said she was okay going to jail. Quote, "It's the result. I killed someone, so you go to jail for that. He wasn't trying to kill me at the time." Bradburn is due back in court July 2nd. Shannon Mowdy, KREM 2 News.
The mayor wanted to hold this forum so members of the public could meet the candidates face to face. They're from different parts of the country and are hoping to be the next chief of police. I spoke with one community member about something he wants to see in whoever gets the job.
She's being my assistant. I hope that there's more of a community dialogue on which one of these candidates the community feels is appropriate.
Anwar Peace is a member of the Washington Coalition of Police Accountability. He's one of many who attended a public forum at the Spokane Public Library downtown this week, wanting to know how the prospective new police chief will solve an issue of officers' actions Peace believes could have been avoided.
For me personally, I want to know what candidates feel how they're going to address having multiple officers on the force that have multiple killings under their belt.
The four candidates, Kevin Hall, Matthew Murray, Tom Worthy, and Kathleen Lanier, all spoke about the issues they feel are vital to address if becoming chief. Assistant Chief of the Tucson Police Department, Kevin Hall, says the screening process is important, particularly as each department can vary in what's accepted.
What does your training curriculum look like? What does your field training officers look like? What do your sergeants look like? All of that has an impact on how that person's going to police and the accountability, the self-accountability they're going to have throughout the rest of their career.
Chief of the Yakima Police Department, Matthew Murray, says accountability among the police department isn't possible without open transparency that he says his department utilizes.
I think that providing data and making sure people can see everything, like the flock camera system, is something I really advocate for. Every single one of those hits is on our webpage and you can look it up. And I think that that's really important.
The Dalles Chief of Police, Tom Worthy, says the key to accountability in the community is making sure all sides of a case are heard.
And let the public have a voice. That's a core foundation of good criminal justice, is that even a suspect, the community, we're here to protect and represent them, that they have a voice in our operations.
And Colonel Kathleen Lanier with the Memphis Police Department says the power the chief has is something she is conscious of and would keep that in mind if given the authority, particularly with officers with misdemeanors on their record.
If someone was caught shoplifting, got their record expunged, they can let them come on the job. But I have a problem with that type of thing, though they have any type of criminal past. But it'll be vetted case by case.
Each candidate heard from the community, and in Peace's case, he hopes there'll be more opportunities for the public to voice their concerns as the candidates for chief are getting fewer.
We're really looking forward to having a change come into this community, and hopefully this police leadership will be that change agent.
Now from here, candidates will be meeting with members of the police department on Friday. After that, Mayor Lisa Brown will be gathering input from the community and officers and make the decision on who is the new chief from there. Reporting in studio, I'm Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News. Starting in 2025, the City of Spokane's Finance Department will be budgeting the city for a 2-year time period instead of doing so annually. The council voted to implement the change in the budget structure in hopes to combat the city's debt of $50 million. Council voted in favor of the new structure in the city's budget 6-1, with one opposing vote from Councilman Jonathan Bingle. Mayor Lisa Brown proposed the biennial budget earlier this year, saying the financial change would help with long-term planning and improve the city financial team's resource management. Councilman Michael Cathcart explains his support for the biennial budget.
That we need to start thinking long-term. We have to start thinking sustainably, and we need to make sure that our program costs and departmental costs and things are sustainable over a longer horizon than just a single year.
Councilman Jonathan Bingle voted against the budget structure in response to the city being in the position of having this be an emergency ordinance. That means the vote is required 6 months before the start of the new year.
Had we had it in time, it could have gone through the proper channels, it could have gone through the proper process and still been passed in time. Unfortunately, we didn't have it in time, and so now we have to pass it as an emergency. Otherwise, we won't be within our deadline.
The City Council vote was 6-1, and many of its supporters believe the new structure will help improve the city's deficit. In studio, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
I'm at Adams Elementary on the South Hill. When I visited the school earlier this year, the principal showed me how parts of the building are falling apart. Now, the building was supposed to be demolished and rebuilt this summer, but that was put on hold after the bond failed in February.
During an executive session Wednesday night, the Spokane Public School Board decided to steer away from putting the bond on November's ballot.
We will continue to listen to our community, and I think we made the right decision for right now, so I do feel good about that.
That was Nikki Otero Lockwood's reaction. Lockwood is SPS board president.
It just really didn't have the momentum, the support from the board to move forward with in November.
The decision was made citing unchanged public opinion, the city's potential tax measure, and low positive support.
This whole process has been frustrating. We aren't working on the schools that are ready to be worked on.
During Wednesday's meeting, school board members talked about lowering the bond from $200 to $75 million. The $200 million bond would improve more than half a dozen school buildings, while a bond for $75 million would replace Adams Elementary School and modernize the oldest sections of North Central High School.
I think that all depends on timing. The longer we wait, I think we would look at a bigger bond again.
The school district says a bond is the only way to finance large capital projects. Even with the bond failing earlier this year, SPS wrote in a statement, quote, "We do have an annual capital projects campaign which uses funds from past bonds to ensure necessary facility upgrades and ongoing improvements to ensure our 57 schools are safe."
The school board president tells me the next steps will be deciding what type of bond package to offer to the public. The next time the bond could return to the ballot is February of next year. In Spokane, Nathan Hyun, KREM 2 News.
Hooptown Hall of Fame got 5 2024 Hall of Fame inductees this year, all with incredible histories in the sport. One that I spoke with says he's excited to receive the honor, never thinking when he started playing in college he'd ever make it this far. It was a moment for 5 Inland Northwest basketball legends. One, humbled by the experience as he talks about his love of Hoop Fest.
It's a tremendous event for the community I played in as a kid, 4th to 8th grade.
Adam Morrison played for Gonzaga for 3 years, making his mark as one of the most notable college basketball players in the 2005 to 2006 season, later playing for the LA Lakers. But now he's back in the city he grew up in, talking about what he learned and teaching it to those he loves.
I'm coaching my youngest son this weekend, so it's pretty cool to be tied in with that. And then they do a lot of good stuff with AAU basketball and community stuff like this, so it's pretty cool to be recognized by that group.
He was one of many with the honor, along with Larry Wendell, Terry Kelly, Linda Sheridan, and Tammy Tibbles. All grateful for their recognition and excited for the weekend ahead, getting to see thousands in Spokane playing the sport they all hold a special place for in their hearts.
It's world renowned. When I played professionally all over, people always talked, you're Spokane, and be like, oh, Hoop Fest, more people than you would expect. So it's cool to be a part of it.
Morrison is excited for this weekend as well as many others, and is excited to see an expected bigger turnout this year compared to last. To learn more about the other inductees, just head to our website. That's KREM.com. In studio, Connor McAvoy, KREM 2 News.
Yesterday was the second and final round of this year's NBA draft, and the long wait came to an end for WSU's Jalen Wells. Special moment for both he and his family out in attendance in Brooklyn. Wells was the first local college product off the board, the star transfer wing for Washington State last season, taken by the Memphis Grizzlies with the 39th overall pick in the second round. Wells earned an all Pac-12 honorable mention this past season after averaging nearly 13 points and 5 rebounds a game, and of course played a big role in ending the Cougs' March Madness drought. The next off the board was Spokane's own Anton Watson. A nice surprise as he was not projected to be taken in the latest mock drafts. The Gonzaga Prep and now Gonzaga alum taking 15 picks after Wells with the 54th overall pick in the second round by the reigning NBA champion Boston Celtics. How about that? Strother to the Nuggets last year and Watson to the Celtics this year. Watson is the only player in Gonzaga program history to have 1,000 points, 700 rebounds, and 200 steals in a career. He's second all time in steals with 215. Celtics president of basketball operations Brad Stevens spoke about his team's pick of Watson after the draft.
I really like him. I think, we didn't talk about him as much specifically, talked more about Baylor, but Anton's strength and ability to move his feet laterally, give him a chance to be one of these big, strong hybrid forwards that can switch, guard a lot of people. I want him to come in here with the mindset that he's going to let it fly like he's never let it fly before, because I think he's a better shooter than he sometimes thinks he is. And so I'm looking forward to getting him in here.
How about that? Some high praise from one of basketball's best minds. Washington State big man Isaac Jones did not hear his name called at the draft. However, not too long after, the former Vandal and Coug found a home in the NBA, signing a two-way contract with the Sacramento Kings. He'll have a chance to make the roster after Summer League. Jones was a huge part of the Cougs' success this past season, earning all Pac-12 first-team honors after leading WSU in both points and rebounds. Bright future ahead for all of them. That's going to do it for sports.
Thank you for joining us on KREM 2 Plus for a look at some of the biggest news stories of the past week. For the most current news throughout the weekend, you can watch our latest newscast here on KREM 2 Plus. Just look for it at the bottom of the navigation menu. I'm Tim Pham. Thanks for watching.